Please go subscribe to the Rumble channel for Franchise Sports TV under the name FSTV22. Now, I'm using that Rumble channel for any purposes of me getting kicked off YouTube and also for more of my spicier joints. It's free as well. I have the freedom to say whatever I want to say as well. So go subscribe to FSTV22. That is Franchise Sports TV 22 on Rumble. What up, YouTube? Franchise Sports TV back again with another video. Before I begin, make sure you like the video. This is a very special one. Let's say that. Very special and different one. Maybe not so different. But I've been planning on doing this for the longest time. I was going to do it before I went up to the Bay, but I never got a chance to do it. I didn't have enough time. But before, like I said, before I begin, make sure you like the video because, you know, YouTube has been shadow banning me because I speak the truth about some of these players in a way they probably don't like it, but I don't care. Here's the thing. See, I don't want to get into a full freaking speech and everything, but here's the thing. Recently, I've been posting, of course, about James Harden's and the Los Angeles Clippers lows right now, as well as LeBron capturing that 5K turnovers. See, all the little detractors on here, the fan bases probably from James Harden and LeBron James, they don't want me talking about their dude in a bad light. But what would I be if I didn't talk about it bad? They just want me to talk about us. People like us. People like Too Raw, Dreamers Pro, Savage Facts, Ticket TV, and others. They want us just to kiss these players' ass all the time. They just want to. That's what they want. They kiss their ass all the time. But what would we be if we just kissed their ass all the time? Not really going out and explaining and putting out our true feelings about the NBA. What would that make us? It would make us fake. See, I don't like being fake. I told you guys already. I was once a fan of LeBron James before I saw the light. And this NBA, I don't like this NBA. I really do not like this NBA. I don't like it. I don't like how much these guys cry every time you criticize them. They seem like they're above criticism. But anyways, I don't want to go into a whole spiel about it. But make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already, so I can get to 1.4 thousand subscribers because they ain't letting me. But anyways, so in this video, it's about all-stars, just random all-stars since 2000. So I'm going back 23 years. So this is definitely going to be a two-parter because I ain't trying to do all, well, at least up to the all-star game. Well, I wouldn't say, I think I might cut it off at a certain time because I think going up to last year is too soon. But it's still definitely going to be a part two. So these are all-stars, random people, random NBA players that were all-stars 1 year and they never was all-stars ever again. So starting out with the 2000 NBA All-Star game, right? This one took place at the Arena Oakland, which I just came back from Oakland. Actually, I only spent probably 10 minutes in Oakland. There's more in San Jose and San Francisco. But anyways, this Star Stadium was up in Oakland. And the West won it 137 to 126. And as I look at the list of random all-stars, the people who never became all-stars anymore, let's see here. Out of the Western Conference all-stars, started Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Shaq. We all know all five of those are multiple-time all-stars. And by this time, they was already, well, it wasn't their first all-star. Now, Michael Finley on here was an all-star, but was he a random all-star? Actually, I think Michael Finley got 2 all-stars back-to-back, so I won't count him. This is just people who got 1 all-star, and that was it. So I think the 2000s didn't really have too many one-time all-stars on here, and that was it for him. Because I think Rasheed Wallace was his first all-star appearance, but I think he's multiple. I think he is multiple. from what I remember. Some people, I don't remember were they multiple or one. And Rasheed Wallace is a 4-time All-Star. So you had to check the Eastern Conference All-Stars. Allen Iverson, Eddie Jones, Vince Carter, Grant Hill, and Alonzo Mourning all were picked as the starters. It's a weird starting. And it was Vince Carter's first, and Allen Iverson's first, but we know those two will have more. It was Ray Allen's first. We know he'll have more. It was Allen Houston's first. Now, Allen Houston was a late bloomer when it came to being an All-Star, because he's been in the league at this time since 1993. He just finally got his first All-Star. He's a 2-time All-Star back-to-back. So that will leave Jerry Stackhouse is the number one. I mean, not the number one, but his first All-Star appearance. He was a back-to-back 2000 All-Star and 2001 All-Star. He was in the league for some time before he got his first. Dale Davis. He was drafted in 91, and he got his first All-Star in 2000. So he is the first candidate. Dale Davis has only got one All-Star, right? And I think he was a replacement that year, because if you look at his career stats overall, 8 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 1.2 blocks a game. And I think he was a reserve, of course, but I think he was picked because somebody didn't play. And I'm trying to see why was he an All-Star. See here. Oh, he was picked as an All-Star, as a reserve. And that 99-2000 season, he averaged 10 points a game and almost 10 rebounds a game. Playing in 74 games. Started 72. Indiana did go to the finals that year to play the Lakers in 6. And he was not considered a reserve or a replacement. So he's the only one. So Dale Davis, everyone. Dale Davis. So in the 2001 All-Star game, which took place in the Washington, D.C. area at the MCI Center, which I think is the Capital One Arena now. The East actually won this, 111 to 110. I remember this one. This one was actually exciting. One of the few exciting ones in the last 20 years. Anthony Mason is the one I know off the top of my head. Was an All-Star for only 1 year. And that when he was on the Miami Heat. He was a replacement for, one of the replacements for Grant Hill and Alonzo Mourning that year, because those two were actually injured. There's actually 2 people on this All-Star reserve list that got their first and only on three. So there's 3 people in the 2001 All-Star, both East and West, that was a one-time All-Star only, and that was it after that. So one of them was Anthony Mason. In that year, rest in peace to Anthony Mason. In that year for Miami, he was a replacement for Alonzo Mourning. See here. I'm just going to go through that year. So the 2000-2001 season, he played in 80 games, started 80 games. So he missed 2, averaging 16 points a game, 9.6 rebounds and 3 assists and 1 steal, which was a career high from an average that year. I'm trying to think, what was in Miami season? I think one of the reasons why he took over for Alonzo Mourning, because he was sat out because Alonzo Mourning had that whole kidney ailment during that time. And also, Anthony Mason finished second in team scoring that year with the 16 points. So that was one of the reasons why he was picked. And Miami was just messed up with injuries that year. Miami, I think, won 50 games that year, but in the playoffs, Anthony Mason didn't do too well. He only averaged 5.3 points a game in the playoffs, and then he was waived. Yikes. Moving on to the next one, which would be Antonio Davis of the Toronto Raptors. He was a replacement for, I think it was Grant Hill. Who was he replacement for? Because there was a lot of people that didn't play for the East. Because it was Grant Hill, Alonzo Moore, and Theo Ratcliffe. And I think Theo Ratcliffe was injured, so he might have been a replacement for Theo Ratcliffe. Or Dikembe Mutombo probably was. So Antonio Davis, in his only All-Star year, that year as a replacement on the Toronto Raptors, that year he averaged, let's see here, 11 points a game. Next on that list, because I'm trying to hurry up and speed through this. Next will be Antonio McDyess. Will it be Antonio McDyess? Yes, Antonio McDyess is the next one. All-Star that year for the Denver Nuggets. Actually, Antonio McDyess was actually nice. But this will be his first All-Star. He was drafted in 95, so it took a couple of years. So Antonio McDyess that year for the Denver Nuggets, he averaged 20 points a game, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists, which were all the rebounds average and assist average was career highs for him. And that concludes the 2001. Now for the 2002 All-Star game, which took place in Philadelphia, there's only 2 people that were one-time All-Stars. And one was Wally Szczerbiak when he was on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That year he averaged, let me look at his career averages right quick. For the Timberwolves for the 2002 season, he averaged 18 points a game in 82 games. Sharif Abdul-Rahim probably should have had more, but there was a lot of people that should have been picked for more All-Stars during this time. Sharif Abdul-Rahim was big for the Vancouver Grizzlies. He's probably one of their best players. He's also an Olympic gold medalist. I said a lot about him lately. He was an All-Star for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, for the Atlanta Hawks, he averaged 21 points a game, 9 rebounds, career high on blocks, played in 77 games, started in 77 games. And it's funny, this year, this is actually the first year that Dirk Nowitzki was actually an All-Star. Crazy, isn't it? See how competitive it was back then. Now, for the 2003 NBA All-Star game in Atlanta, there's only one person on this list that was a one-time All-Star only. Just a one-time. And surprisingly, I didn't know who it was. I thought it was somebody else, but it wasn't him. That person, I thought it was, actually, was Brad Miller. Brad Miller actually was in an All-Star game back-to-back. So it wasn't Brad Miller. No, it was Jamal Mashburn. Jamal Mashburn of the New Orleans Hornets. Freshly New Orleans Hornets. Jamal Mashburn is better than what people thought gave him. But then again, he averaged 19 points for his whole entire career. He was an All-Star that year for the New Orleans Hornets, once I say it again. He was also third team that year. NBA All-Third Team that year. For the New Orleans Hornets, in the 2002-2003 season, he averaged 21 points. Played in 82 games, started in 81, and averaged a career high in assists that year. So Jamal Mashburn is that only All-Star that got one All-Star for his whole entirety of his career. So for the 2004 All-Star game that took place in Los Angeles, there are multiple on both squads on the Eastern Conference. Starting with the Eastern Conference reserves is one Michael Redd, who actually had a career year that year, got the Bucks to the playoffs in his only All-Star game coming off the bench. The next one is Kenyon Martin for the New Jersey Nets, who actually had another career for that year. And then Jamal McGlory. Anybody remember Jamal McGlory for the New Orleans Hornets? I think he also played for the Toronto Raptors and Milwaukee Bucks as Miami Heat. He only got one All-Star. And then I think after the year after this, he ended up going to Milwaukee. Now, for the Western Conference, is Sam Cassell. I think see, this is how messed up the voting is. Sam Cassell, in my opinion, should have been in more. They keep talking about Robert Horry should be a Hall of Fame, but Sam Cassell will actually had his hand on some games, especially when he was in Milwaukee, as well as I remember, and Minnesota. But he only got one All-Star, 2004. That's it. So the 2005 All-Star game up in Denver. Well, there's nobody on this list, but there's lots of first timers in here. Marcus Stoudemire will receive his first All-Star appearance. LeBron James will receive his first All-Star appearance. Dwayne Wade, Gilbert Arenas, Antoine Jameson. But there's nobody who's just a one-time All-Star here. So, moving on. So, we're going to skip 2006 because there's nobody there. Now, we're going to skip to 2007. Does anybody remember Josh Howard? Dallas Mavericks fans might remember who he is. Josh Howard got his one and only All-Star appearance in 2007 up in, I believe it was Houston. That year for him, for his All-Star year, he averaged 18 points a game, 6 rebounds and 1 assist. Actually, he did better the next season after that. And this is the same season when the Mavericks got upset by the Golden State Warriors that year. But Josh Howard, man, his career could have been better if he stayed off the you-know-what. But now he's coach of the University of North Texas at Dallas, so, yeah. But he ain't the only one. The next one will be Mehmet Okur. Anybody remember him? The Utah Jazz? He only got one All-Star, too. That year. I forgot he was even on the freaking... I forgot Mehmet Okur even on the Pistons when he won it. That's how forgettable he has become. But he only got his only All-Star in 2007 as well. That's very weird. And I believe that is it. Well, there's none in 2008. But Chris Paul will receive his first All-Star nod. And so did Brandon Roy. And so did David West. Was actually, I thought he was a one-time All-Star too. But he is not. I think he got an All-Star twice. Yeah. He was an All-Star twice, 08 and 09. He's also a two-time champion, you guys remember, with Golden State. So, moving on to the next year, because nobody's a one-time and done All-Star. Let's go to 2009. The All-Star game, I barely remember that was up in Phoenix. Up in Phoenix. I say that like somewhere else. Here in Phoenix. But anyways, Danny Granger is one. Mo Williams is another one with one and only All-Star. I think some of these dudes, Mo Williams was actually a replacement for Chris Bosh because Chris Bosh was injured. Jameer Nelson might be another one. Anybody remember Jameer Nelson, the quiet point guard in Orlando Magic during the Dwight Howard era? Yeah, he only got one. Which sucks for him because his only All-Star nod, he was injured for it. And he was replaced by Ray Allen, who at this time was in his ninth. Devin Harris will be another one from the New Jersey Nets. I didn't know Devin Harris played until 2008. I'm looking at his picture right here. He had a Denver jersey with a Nike emblem on it. I didn't know he played up until there. But everybody remember Devin Harris. His only All-Star nod. And like I said, Jameer Nelson. Mo Williams was another All-Star nod for him. I think he was a replacement for, like I said, Chris Bosh, if I haven't said that already. And that's pretty much it. Most of them came from the East Coast. So moving on to the last and final All-Star of this decade, or you can count as the next decade, 2010. So in the 2010 NBA All-Star Game, this took place in two places, Dallas and Arlington, even though it says Dallas. The All-Star weekend activities took place at the American Airlines, home of the Dallas Mavericks, and the actual game took place at the home of the Cowboys, Lambeau Field South, at AT&T Stadium. Now, there's only two people on here that were one-time All-Stars, and that was it. And there was All-Stars again after that. I thought it was multiple, but I thought one was David Lee, but he has two All-Star nods, and I thought the other one was Zach Randolph. But one for the Eastern Conference was Gerald Wallace, the Charlotte Bobcats, if you remember him. And the other one was Chris Kaman, who actually had a career-high average in points and rebounds at 18.5 points and almost 10 rebounds a game. But the Clippers finished 29-53. Yikes. And after that, Chris Kaman became a journeyman. and you never heard from him again. But also in this All-Star appearance, I should say edition, Rajon Rondo would get his first. Derrick Rose would get his first. Al Horford would get his first. David Lee would get his first. Deron Williams would get his first. Kevin Durant will get his first as a reserve. Zach Randolph as well. And some of these guys were actually replacements. I think Jason Kidd was a replacement. Chauncey Billups was named a replacement as well. And so Chris Kaman was a replacement. Chauncey Billups replaced Chris Paul. Chris Kaman replaced Brandon Roy. And Jason Kidd replaced Kobe Bryant. And David Lee was named as a replacement for Allen Iverson. And Joe Johnson had to start in place of Allen Iverson. Dirk started in place of Kobe. Which I don't remember Kobe even. I think Kobe was injured for this. I don't think I watched this All-Star game for some reason. I don't even remember Kobe being out for this. But yeah, this concludes part 1 because I got another couple All-Stars. And I bet there's a whole bunch of other people who need to be listed as well. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it sounds kind of everywhere with some of this, but yeah, happens when your computer try to do 2 things at once on your computer. But anyways, tell me what you guys think.